Welcome back, Sober Family. This is another episode of Recovery Talk brought to you by Pro Recovery Power. Before I move further, I want to say a few things. As you may know, a lot of you do know that my mom, she passed away on Tuesday evening. I just want to say again, I can't say this enough. Thank you to everybody that has been reaching out to me, texting me, calling me, sending me messages on social media about my mom's passing. It means a lot. It really helping. I mean, I've been getting messages from people that I don't even know who you are, but you've been following me, and it's been so helpful. The people sending me messages that I don't even know, certain like YouTube videos, music videos, Persian worship songs. It's a lot of encouragement. Some of my sober family here in California, they sent me flowers. There's a bunch of flowers actually we have from people, and my mom was a special person. She, I have a lot of my mom's character. I do. And, she will continue to live on in me. Honestly, even doing these lives, I didn't want to do them, for the time being, grieving my mom's or the loss of my mom. But I know my mom wanted me to continue to carry the message, to the person that's out there still sick and suffering, because that's what she did. She is my example of that. And she was a great example. So again, thank you guys so much for all the love and support. Man, it is so helpful. All of my emotions right now just want me to just hang out and just lay down and go sleep and eat and do nothing, but absolutely nothing will stop me from carrying the message to the person that's still sick and suffering, because that is exactly the type of person my mom was. And that's what she wants me to do. And I'm going to do it. I didn't need any more motivation or inspiration. My purpose pushes me. But, this disease of addiction, it forged a great weapon against itself when it tried to take me out. Now that my mom is gone, I can hear this disease going on in my brain, but again, that's just more fuel for me, it backfired. So, a couple announcements, guys. I mentioned this before that the Pro Recovery Power website, it's a new website. You guys can go and check it out. The goal for PRP is to achieve nonprofit status so we can reach the masses, people that are struggling, people in the dark, bring them into the light, help them to recover from their addiction. And, of course, clothing line. These are all tools. YouTube page, lives. These are all tools that I'm using to get me in front of the person that's still sick and suffering. I'm not trying to make money off of selling clothes and hats and all this stuff. No, that's not my mission. My mission is to help the person that's still sick and suffering. I will carry this message to the day I die. Even after I'm gone, if my son wants to, he can continue to carry this message for me. So you guys can check that out. Also, guys, Wednesdays, every Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, we started a non-denominational meeting. It's basically like a 12-step meeting. What that means is it's all fellowships, all support groups. Anybody's welcome to come to the meetings. It's on Zoom. The ID number is 909-909-1900, and the password is ProPower. But I will post about it every week leading up to the meeting. So, and again, one more thing. I apologize for yesterday. I was gonna go live. I had somebody on, but she lived on the other side of the world, and it was just a miscommunication with the time and everything. So I'll get her on eventually. But I wasn't live, and I didn't say or mention anything to anybody because I know some of you guys are always on watching, and you guys look forward to it. So again, I apologize to you guys, for not saying something or posting something about it. But today I have Kelly is going to be on. Kelly is going to be telling her story of basically how she went from the problem of drug and alcohol addiction to the solution of recovery. I'm really excited. Honestly, I could use this. This helps me. This is part of my healing. Carrying the message, listening to somebody's story is so powerful and helpful for me. So without further ado, let me get her on in here. Where are you? There she is. Here we go, guys. Hey, there she is.
Hi.
Hey,
Hey,
Kelly, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I wanted to say thank you. I know you've got so much going on right now, and for you to, for all of us watching this today, and for me, just thank you for showing up for my recovery today, even with everything that you have going on. And I'm so sorry for your loss.
Yeah, thank you so much. But like I was just saying, it's part of the healing process. Like you know, we found out that there's different stages of grief and loss of a loved one and all these different things. So, you know, but the power of God is gonna really move in our life. Like I feel right now in this moment I feel okay. I can still feel it, like I feel like a wounded animal or something. But stuff like this, helping somebody, listening to your story, I mean it's so helpful for me. Instead of just wallowing in self-pity and poor me, I lost my mom. I become useless to every and anybody. I can make a difference in anybody's life if I just get stuck. And my enemy, this disease, would love nothing more than to stop me from walking out God's plan that He has for me. Even in my mom's death, that's a big deal. We're all not gonna live forever, but the power of God is working. I mean, just by the way I feel, I want to continue to carry the message, even though my mom passed away. Because I would get, like, yesterday I started getting these thoughts of guilt, like, whoa, bro, your mom just died. You should be crying. But I'm celebrating my mom's life. She got no more pain now, no more suffering, no more doctor's appointments, no more chemotherapy, no more nothing. She had dialysis. She was on dialysis. No needles pulled. Her arms for 7 years all bruised. Catheter in her chest, catheter in her arm. She goes through 20 boxes of tissue in a day and a half. So I'm so happy. I'm borderline jealous for my mom because I know what she is.
Yeah.
But it's just part of the process. I understand that. It's the healing part. But I honestly could talk about this the whole time. We were alive, so but I won't.
Well,
But thank you.
it's a miracle that, that program and recovery can help us get to a place that even in this kind of suffering and grief that you're going through right now, that you have that ability to reach outside of yourself and try to help someone else. And that's amazing.
Oh, absolutely. If,
Amazing.
if my mom taught me anything, that's what she taught me.
That's
Oh my gosh. Like she was, and my mom, she never, my whole entire life for 37 years,
yeah.
she never taught me anything by using her words. Ever. Never. She's always taught me by doing it first, being an example. She
Wow.
was so patient. She was so loving. She was so kind and
What was
generous.
her first name?
Her first name was Doreen.
Doreen. Okay.
Yeah, and her legacy that she left was a legacy of love. My mom was a physical description. If you could see what unconditional love looked like, it looked like my mom. That's
Yeah.
exactly what it looked like. And I'm not just saying that because she's my mom.
Yeah.
I mean, there's people have reached out to me. I don't even know, but my mom made some sort of impact in their lives, and I was like, man. There's hundreds and hundreds of messages throughout my social media, and my phone, but I'm so
She
grateful.
sounds like a special person.
Yes, she is, and it's still sinking in. Like honestly, sometimes like after this is over, I feel like I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna see her in the kitchen washing dishes or something like that.
Yes.
But it's a sad time. It is. There is a time for grieving and mourning. The Bible talks about things like that. But it's a season. It's not permanent. It's
That's right.
temporary. It's
You're right.
temporary. So I
Yeah.
understand that.
Yeah.
But anyways, now let's get back to to
Okay.
to uh, to you now.
All
Enough
right.
about me. Enough about me.
Oh,
Because even in something like this, I read Rick Warren's book, The Purpose Driven Life. The first words in that book literally says, "It's not about you." I
yeah.
mean, you lose a loved one, you lose your job, you get divorced. It's still not about you.
Right.
Even in this time, I don't want to make it about me. Like, oh, I'm sad, I lost my mom. It's about carrying the message, helping somebody else, in
Yeah.
their struggles. Because there's somebody else's mom out there dying right now that we
Yeah.
could possibly reach.
That's
So,
right.
you know, um,
Helping someone through their grief. Yeah.
yeah, it's full throttle. Like God, He turned that switch on in me, and it's permanently on. No matter what. So, but anyways,
Yeah.
before we get started, and you tell your story, I just want to ask you a few questions, Kelly. The first one is, how long have you been sober?
I've been sober about 4.5 years. So my
Uh-huh.
sober date is November 15th of 16. So
Okay. Yeah,
yeah.
we're right about the same place. Like I was,
Are we? What's yours?
well, February 17th of
Okay.
2017. Yeah.
Okay. Oh yeah, we're
Yeah.
right there. Oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Cool. Cool. Okay. Let's see. And then, so where are you from?
I live in Utah
Okay.
and I grew up kind of all over the place. So I've lived all over Minnesota, California, Montana, you name
Oh,
it. But my
wow.
family all kind of ended up here in Utah. So yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. And then the last question, what was your choice in drink and or drug?
It's just like all of it, really.
More.
I
More.
I definitely alcohol was a running theme definitely throughout my life. I ended up being a vodka drinker. And drugs, I had my cocaine years and then that sort of morphed into methamphetamine and heroin
Okay.
use. So
All
oh,
right. So
yep.
at this time, Kelly, I will give you the floor
Okay.
to inspire hope into all of us.
Oh, no pressure.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, well, I'm Kelly and I'm a recovering drug addict and alcoholic. And for I guess for me, like I feel like I always have to kind of touch a little bit on my childhood and not go like a ton into it, but like I'm one of those people who like I don't know what happened, but somewhere like around 7 years old, I became really uncomfortable in my own skin. And it just felt like I didn't fit in the world. And I
Mm,
really come from a very nice family. I'm the middle of five kids. I had a religious upbringing, nothing terribly out of the ordinary. I mean, just regular family dysfunction, but there wasn't like extreme abuse going on or anything like that. But here I was just sort of this, a sweet, bright kid. And then all of a sudden it was like super social anxiety. I can remember just, feeling different from the other girls at school and just a lot of self hatred. And I
uh-huh.
don't know exactly where that came from. And really turning in on myself. It was, I sort of had this urge to even self-injure, even as a little girl. But anyway, so that feeling came with me. And as soon as I hit teenage years, like those first couple of years, and had an opportunity to try alcohol for the first time, I realized that, oh my gosh, alcohol did something for me, because I had now spent 6 or 7 years in a mind that was attacking myself. I put
Mhm.
alcohol into my system and it felt like, oh my heck. I mean, I can remember it hitting my system and I was like, well, this is the solution to my problems.
Yeah.
And, that first night I drank, I drank myself so sick and ended up in a police station and throwing up all over my best friend. It was one of those really dramatic nights, my
Uh-huh.
sister had to come pick me up from the police station and she had to bathe me. I couldn't keep my head up. And I can remember like laying in my bedroom, spinning and so nauseous, that
Oof.
terrible feeling, right?
Mm.
And putting my hand on the wall and trying to keep the world from spinning. And my thought was, I cannot wait to do this again. Like I
Yeah.
figured out there's something to this. And I believe for me, like the phenomenon of craving or the mental obsession at that
Mhm.
point, it was on. Like it was
Yeah.
on like Donkey Kong from the
Yeah.
first time I tried it. And that need machine like turned on. I believe I was an alcoholic. I truly do from that moment forward, because that feeling of like, now I have to do whatever it takes to be in the right friend group, find the people who do this, figure out who's got the drugs. I mean, that whole thing of trying to figure that out is kind of an awkward 13-year-old, was hard to do. But I started to kind of breaking into those groups because I wanted drugs and I wanted alcohol.
Mhm.
And so that became my life and what I started to do to really start coping with those feelings. I I did not care so much that it was destroying me. I went to my first 12-step meeting at 14 years old. I had a therapist who was like, "You've got a problem. You need a." So here I'm like this little 14-year-old, and I show up, and it was actually a CA meeting in
Oh.
California, and here I'm this little kid, and I'm like, I don't know what they're talking about. But in and out of the rooms, definitely as a teenager and young adult, hearing the message, but never being ready for it.
Right.
You know, other people were like, you need this. And for me, I was like, no, this is working. Like, I'm sorry, I'm not ready to let this go.
Right.
And I didn't so much care if it killed me. Like that really, it was more important to me that I was coping with feelings than if it accidentally killed me or something. People were really concerned about like what direction my life was going. And to me, I was like, yeah, but you know, this makes me feel like like I'm not dying on the inside.
Mm-hmm.
And so I continued to do that. And that came with, you know, a lot of other behavior. I was really acting out, very promiscuous, lots of, you know, traumatic experiences, just being young and drunk and in the wrong place at the wrong time and all of that. And those things start to add up and start to sort of compound with the self-esteem and all of that. And, you know, I started to really get labels like stigma and labels. Like I felt just gosh, you know, like every label you could think of. Like
Yeah.
I had placed 2 children for adoption as a teenager, and so I felt like this horrible human being that I had done that, and I was just sort of the broken one. It felt like, you know, and so I carried that deep shame with me. And so, you know, over the years, you know, things really, this disease is so progressive. And
Mm-hmm.
so there were times, like short periods of time, where I could like sort of kind of put my life together.
Mm-hmm.
But really inside, anytime I was even sort of sober, like the mental health problems would spring up. Like I didn't know how to cope with life without drugs and alcohol. And the drugs
Mm-hmm.
and alcohol really can't live much of a functional life anyway. So there
Right.
wasn't ever really a time I had a lot of real normalcy. And it was really hard for my family to watch this too. You know, here they were just like, just stop drinking, just stop doing drugs and your life will be fine. And that solution didn't work for me.
Yeah.
Anytime I stopped, I felt like I couldn't live. I didn't know what that looked like. I wanted a normal life. I have this, you know, these older sisters who, you know, are these amazing examples of human beings. And you know, and I didn't know how to make my life look like their life. It didn't work for me. I
Yeah.
just wanted to be out of the pain, and I seemed to throw that my life away very easily for, you know, the solution of drugs and alcohol that would make me feel better. And as it progressed, you know, I ended up raising two daughters, um, and when they were 13 and 15 years old, I found heroin and added that to my methamphetamine and alcohol problem. But,
Mm-hmm.
you know, once I was on the heroin, I didn't need the alcohol anymore, but was then using the heroin and the methamphetamine at the same time. And in a very short period of time, I lost custody of my daughters and went from sort of this sort of functioning life to, you know, straight onto the streets of Salt Lake City and
Mm-hmm.
supporting my drug habit with prostitution, homelessness, and really entering into a world that I was not equipped for, nor had I been prepared for it. I mean, I'd seen a lot in my life, but you know, there's a whole other world going on out there, and
Mm-hmm.
had to learn a lot of that kind of stuff the hard way. And it was a really dark time and a really, gosh, Lika, just, it
Mm-hmm.
was, you know, for the first time in my life, you know, I'd spent a lot of time really being angry at God in my life,
Mm-hmm.
thinking, you know, I lost my father when I was 15 years old unexpectedly. He passed away. And I was really angry with God about that. I was angry with God about being addicted to pretty much anything I came across. I was
Mm-hmm.
angry for the mental health problems. I was just angry. And, you know, and so I didn't want to look at a spiritual solution ever. But being out there in that dark, dark place, you know, finally opened my eyes a little bit to spiritual stuff again and being willing to look at it, because there's no denying in certain situations that there's a force of, you know, not good. There's the dark side happening as well. And
Right.
you know, sometimes those of us who are sensitive or who've been out there and understand there's some dark stuff happening. And because of those experiences that I was having, it started to really open my mind to the idea that, I needed to maybe consider spirituality again.
Mm-hmm.
So I said a little prayer before we got on this live, and
Mm-hmm.
I don't often share this little story, but I felt like I was supposed to tonight, so I'm just going to. Um,
Okay.
so in the worst of the worst, out living in the hotels in Salt Lake City, supporting my habit with prostitution and the heroin and meth problem being at its worst. I was really very emaciated at that point, covered in sores,
Mm-hmm.
really not well mentally, and dying. I mean, I was really dying from it. Very isolated from my family, and really just kind of at the mercy of a lot of predators.
Mm-hmm.
And I had this really amazing experience um, and I don't know if you believe in this kind of thing,
Mm-hmm.
but where I had a spiritual experience with my father who had passed
Mm-hmm.
when I was 15 years old, and he came and visited me. I didn't see him with my eyes, but I knew he was there, and I knew he was in the room. And he told me a couple of things. He told me that I had done good, and I didn't know what that meant. And he told me, I cried to him and told him I wanted to go home, but I didn't know how to go home. And he
Mm-hmm.
told me that I would go home here on earth, that I would go home. And he told me that my story would go on to inspire other people.
Mm-hmm.
And he didn't stay very long, and he was gone. But that experience with him helped me see a few things. Number one, our loved ones are there with us, and they're watching us, and they are supporting us, and they never leave us. And I knew that to be true. And in that really lonely place
Mm-hmm.
where I had lost everything, my higher power allowed us to have this experience where I could see that my father, who I loved, was there and watching and rooting for me. And this spark of hope came into my heart all of a sudden, where I was like, oh my gosh, he believes that like I'm gonna go home. Nobody was saying that around me. Everyone was waiting. They're literally planning my funeral. They're literally planning my funeral.
Mm-hmm.
And here he's telling me I'm gonna go home, and that I'm gonna have something to share with somebody. And I'm thinking, what do I have to share with anybody? I don't have anything to share with anybody.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just an example of what not to do. It's like scared straight to the maximum right now. And but after that experience, I had this spark of like, I couldn't deny it happened. I knew then, that something was big was going to have to happen, because that alone was not enough for me to be willing to surrender. Like I had to go into, a lot of really horrendous situations after that for about another 18 months before I was willing to surrender. But I held on to that experience and held on to that hope through. And when the time came and I was finally at that place of the gift of desperation, that helped me get through that. But I don't often share that story, Alika, but I felt like I needed to tonight. But to share about recovery and what my life looks like now, really, I had all of these, when all those years in and out of 12-step recovery, and I couldn't figure out what people were talking about. And I could have sworn I was so different from them. I was so uniquely broken. I was broken in a way that 12-step recovery couldn't help me. Somehow, like, they have it worked out and not for them, but I couldn't get it. I didn't grasp it. And I definitely didn't believe that there was a higher power situation happening that was keeping them, like, that couldn't actually be what was going on, And it took getting that gift of desperation to finally say, I'm willing to try the higher power thing and go all in. Like, I was willing to go all in. Like, I didn't care if it made me look like a fanatic or a zealot or whatever. Like, I was like, this is the only thing I haven't tried. I tried everything else. And finally I'm like, I'll do it, but I'm going on. Like me, you know, I'm
Yeah.
black and white. I'm going to go all in. And I was just
Yeah.
like, I'm in. And I jumped in.
No half measures.
Right? Yeah. I'm doing it, you know, and I jumped in, and I have to tell you, like, I hear this from a lot of people who have their own unique, like, spiritual experiences, but I feel like our higher powers show up, especially at the beginning when we're really going all in, and give us these unique, sort of personal, tender experiences that say, hey, I am here and I can do this for you. I can help you stay clean and sober. I can help you have a new life, something different than you ever imagined. And I started having these crazy, miraculous little experiences that were so simple, but at the same time so meaningful. And for me, finding out like that God was there all along, mind blowing. Like, biggest plot twist ever, and really the greatest thing ever, to have been so angry, not willing to look at the higher power solution at all, just thinking that's stupid. It's like trying to believe literally in the Easter Bunny or the Tooth Fairy is going to help me with my real world problems, you know? And to find out like I was so wrong. And that's been like the freedom of the program for me. in like, if I could sum up like everything, like my experience in recovery with like one sentence, it's I was so wrong. I was wrong about a higher power. I was wrong about the fact that I was a victim. I mean, I am wrong about so many things. And I still find things I learned I thought I knew, and I was just plain wrong. I was wrong. I didn't know that. I didn't know I was walking around with like these pride blinders on. You know, I thought I was this sweet person who just, you know, was just a victim to having addiction and all of that. And it turns out, you know, I was a judgmental, self-centered, selfish person who did things that actually hurt people. And I had made excuses for my behavior for a really long time. And to come in and begin to really see these things, and to be freed and sort of unlocked from, you know, the next room and the next room of my brain, it's very freeing to not be trapped in this like little cage in my head. And to be able to grow as a human being. I feel like for the first time, I'm not trapped somewhere emotionally at 12, 13, 14 years old. I feel like I get an opportunity now to go through things, to grow through things, and to start to grow up. I'm probably like 16 years old now, so I'm making progress.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Sometimes I'm
it's
like, I'm not grown up.
scientifically proven too as well. Like when like we cross that line into full blown addict, alcoholic,
Yes.
our brains, we literally stop maturing. So like if 20 years or 30 years go by and we get sober, that's if we're 15 and we're 44, we're literally mentally 15 years old now, and we
Oh,
got to
and
learn how to grow up and everything.
that does not surprise me at all. I didn't know it had been scientifically proven, but
Yeah.
you know, I can feel that, and I know it. I think we hopefully grow up faster. You know, I do feel like in a certain sense, you know, I'm kind of on this like this fast track, or I'm maybe learning things that people in their early 20s. You know, it's just you know, I missed all of that growing up, but it's fun to be able to grow up now. It's like exciting um I actually have hope. I felt like the second I added a higher power into the equation, like I had hope, because I know without a doubt, I proved this to myself for 27 years. Like, I do not have the power to keep myself clean and sober.
Yeah,
My
me
will,
either.
it's not there. It's a weird thing. I have no willpower, none whatsoever.
No defense.
No. I mean, the wind will just blow weird on a Tuesday, and next thing I know, you know, I wake up and I'm, you know, smoking crack or something.
Yeah.
Just, I don't know how it happens, but it does. And so for me, to know that I don't have to rely on my willpower, and that I get to rely on God's power today, takes the pressure off. And it took a minute to really have that click and that understanding of, I'm literally not depending on myself today. I mean, the things I need to do are show up for my recovery, help other people, share the messages I can, do my step work, stay in touch with my sponsor. I mean, there's a million things, right?
Yeah.
But the one thing I don't have to do is keep myself sober today. I just
Yeah.
allow God to give me that gift.
That's
And thank
right.
goodness, because that's the one thing I couldn't do. That's the
Yeah.
one thing I had proven to myself I couldn't do.
Yeah. Me too. All my experiences showed me once I crossed that line into full blown addiction, once I started, I couldn't stop. That's all
Yeah.
I knew. And you know, there's one sentence in the book I went through with my sponsor that literally sums up the whole entire book for me. And because I was so far beyond human aid, no human power, my human will failed me. So, in one of the chapters, it says, it's a sentence. It says, the main objective of this book is to enable you to find a power greater than yourself that will solve your problem. Not might, not only solve it on Sunday or Monday or Tuesday, but will. That sums up because if you take that out of the book, you take God out of that book, none of it works. Absolutely none of it works.
Nope.
So it's so amazing, like I yet to have find somebody who is like they claim or they identify being an alcoholic and an addict, and they just got sober on their own, like
Right.
did it all on their own. I still have to find somebody like that. I've never met anybody like that yet.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know?
Well, and I think, I wouldn't want that, because knowing me, you take the drugs and alcohol away from me without recovery, without God, I'm a hot mess. I don't want to be a hot mess. I want
Yeah.
to get better. I want to feel good. I want to feel good in my own skin. And for that to
Right.
happen, you've got to do a lot more than remove the drugs and alcohol from me.
Yeah, you just made me think of something. A lot of people, because there's people that follow me that watch this, that they never struggle with drugs and alcohol. And like not drinking, not using anymore, that is the smallest blessing in the whole recovery process.
Yeah.
I mean, like people think, whether people know this or not, the 12 steps really has nothing to do with drugs and alcohol.
That's
If
right.
you actually read it, the first one, that's it. The other 11 has nothing to do with drugs and alcohol at all. See, if drugs and alcohol was actually the real problem, every step would talk about drugs or alcohol or both or something like that. And like I was saying, so like getting sober, not drinking, not using drugs, that's the smallest blessing. Like the real big blessings is things like our character, like being able to be patient when you're waiting in a line, not leashing out at somebody when they're rude to you, not stealing money from your work because nobody's gonna see, all these different things, and not being deceptive and lying to people all the time. All these kind of certain ways of thinking and behavior, that is the real miracle. As bad as drugs and alcohol like tore us up,
Yeah.
that is not the big miracle. The big
Right.
miracle is an entire psychic changer, just the whole trajectory of your life. Today, literally everything about me is different.
Yeah.
Everything, literally everything is different about me. There's nothing about me that's still the same, and that's just the power of God working in my life. Like you said, see, I kind of keep myself sober, and in one of the steps, we humbly, we ask God to take our shortcomings. That doesn't mean He's gonna just go, okay, give me all of them. No,
Right.
he left some for me to work on.
Yeah.
But it's so cool. And I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, I love that. No, you have such good points. I love that too. I think my higher power uses my shortcomings to then try to turn me into who he wants me to be. It's like I need some of those, right? Because then he can kind of shape me off of those. Like, and who wants to walk around being perfect all the time anyway? Right? We gotta keep growing.
And earlier you mentioned something. You're talking about you're something along the lines of you're closed off, your mind is closed off to the spirituality part of it. And it's amazing though how once our mind is open to it, bam, things happen.
Yes.
But like as a believer, like I believe in God. Like I'm talking about God the Father, because people talk God can be anything. Can be money, can be a car, can be your wife, can be a career. I'm not talking about God in general. I'm specifically talking about God the Father. So something I found out with my relationship with God, reading His Word, addiction is it is spiritual warfare. That's really what's going on behind it. I mean, this disease of addiction There's somebody pulling the strings. It doesn't exist on its own accord at all.
Right.
At all, not at all. The thief comes only to steal, kill, and destroy. That's it. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm gonna share this real quick.
Yeah.
So, this would happen 2 days ago. So, I'm grieving the death of my mom. I don't want to be by myself. I let my wife know, my family, please, if you guys go anywhere, I want to go. I don't want to be by myself. So I knew she had to take off real quick. I just woke up. So I said, okay, no worries. I just got my son, put him in a stroller, took him for a walk right down the street over here. We live on a very busy street here. And I usually will take him for a walk, the same place. So I put him in the stroller, I take him for a walk. There's a street light kind of a ways away and all the cars are stopped. And as I heard this voice in my head as clear as day. It's the clearest voice I've ever heard. And it wasn't a good voice. I recognized this voice. I knew who it was. So because of, he's trying to capitalize on my emotions, how I'm feeling, trying to exploit my weaknesses. So as I'm pushing my son along, there's a bench. I sat down on the bench and this thought came to my mind. Literally, I heard it as clear as day. And it went like this. Why don't you push your son out into the traffic and just go stand out there by him? Just kind of ease the pain. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm not going to do that. But however, what I also know is that this guy is very persistent.
Yes,
My adversary is very patient and persistent. That's why, he goes around like a roaring lion looking for somebody to devour. That tells me he cannot just jump on anybody.
Yeah.
That's why, to me, what my recovery has taught me the most is to stay connected to God. It has taught me that. Because in my moment of weakness, honestly, no matter how much recovery I got in me, he could catch me in a moment of weakness, and pushing my son out into the street would have sounded like a good idea to ease the pain, because I'm still self-focused. This disease of addiction stems from being selfish and self-centered.
Yes.
I don't want to feel like this. I want to feel better. So I'm just going to listen to what these voices tell me or whatever, and just being led by my emotions.
Yes.
But I've gained some wisdom, in recovery. I thank God, man. I give God all the glory.
And I think protection too.
Yeah.
Really, honestly, as you are staying close to the sunlight of the Spirit.
Yeah.
In your actions and all of that, I mean, you are protected, and you were able to be aware of that, and then to then make a choice.
Right.
But I'm with you. Yeah. Go ahead.
My friend Blair has a question. So she asks, how I mean, I'm thinking it's not for me, it's for you.
Yeah.
How are your relationships with your family and kids now that you're sober?
Oh, okay. So my relationship with my sisters and, like my siblings, amazing, so good. And with my parents, seriously, like best it's ever been in my entire life. I feel like we've gotten really close. The relationship with my two daughters, on the other hand, has been an ongoing trial and struggle. They were really hurt by my behavior, and so we've got a long way to go. But I love them very, very much, and I'm very hopeful that over time things will improve. But it is definitely my biggest struggle in my sobriety, as far as emotionally, having, wishing that things were different and having to really trust my higher power in the process. Because I'm like, I want to show up kind of like the big book says, it's like the tornado's over and we come out of the cell and we're like, hey, great, I'm sober, and so like, hey, I'm sober and I'm all
roll out the red carpet.
Yeah, aren't you excited? And they're pretty much giving me the middle finger, like, thanks, yeah, we're real glad you're back,
right.
After everything I put them through, which was hard stuff. So
yeah,
but being patient is hard, but I certainly love them and have lots of hope for them.
Yeah, I agree with you. And like when because I've heard so many people in the past, and it's like, okay, I'm sober now, okay, all is well now, like I never forgot the damage I've done to people. And something I've learned when I'm trying to regain trust with somebody, trust, it's a repeated reality. That's what trust is. They've seen me behave a certain way for so many years. Okay, I'm sober now. That doesn't erase all these years,
Yeah.
So again, it's a repeated reality. Like my words and actions should line up consistently for a period of time.
Yeah.
I mean, that the damage might be so severe, it might take years for some relationships to be repaired. I don't know.
Yeah, I think so. I think I'm definitely in for the long haul, and I'm a person who likes immediate gratification, and I want it all to be better. So,
Uh-huh.
this teaches me, patience, and yeah, I agree. It
Yeah,
takes time.
I'm right there with you, with that instant gratification thing.
Yeah.
Like I don't know one alcoholic, one addict that was actually patient. We
Right.
lack that. We lack
I
that.
know, exactly.
No, it's so funny. But
Yeah.
you got an amazing story to tell. I'm so happy. I'm so glad that I was able to, continue to do this, in spite of, my mom's death and
Me
everything.
too.
Because it's helpful. Like I still feel kind of wounded, but this is helpful. It's a process,
Like
doing things
medicine,
like
isn't it?
this.
Like soul
Yeah,
medicine.
yeah, yeah,
At least
exactly.
a little like balm or salve for me.
Yeah, something, some Vicks, put some
Yeah, some
Vicks
big.
on. Vicks will like cure everything, like according to my mom, basically when I was a kid, put Vicks on everything,
The big sun.
Yeah, yeah. But so now that we're winding down,
Yeah,
I'm gonna ask you some questions here now.
sure.
Okay, the first question is, how did you find willingness? And that's something you mentioned. That, oh, I love that word. So,
Yeah,
how did you find willingness to surrender, or what brought you to your bottom?
yeah. I think it's so funny. Everybody's story is the same or different, but at the same time, the same components are usually there, which is
Right?
we're still alive and we can't use anymore, and we can't not use anymore. It's like we're just trapped. We're in this place where there's just nowhere to go. And for me, um, it had to get spiritually very, very dark. And I think I came to understand, apparently dying from this thing wasn't enough, losing my children, my family, everything, being homeless, and being among some really dangerous people and being trapped in that situation. It was like finally, that thing, just something tipped where the pain of the solution finally was less than the pain of the problem.
Uh-huh.
And it really came down to, like, I felt like I was in a fight for my soul, and that was the one thing I wasn't willing to let go of. It was the one thing I was willing to fight for.
Yeah.
And that sounds really maybe dramatic to people, but like the truth is, like,
Hmm.
it felt like I was in a fight for my soul, and I was finally willing to do something, and I feel like it was maybe a God-given gift. I don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I can relate. My dad always told me from when I was like a teenager, he said, look, in life we can go through two different pains. The pain of change or the pain of staying the same.
Yeah.
And for me, the pain of staying the same, it didn't hurt that much. 1 year, 2 years, 10 years. By the time I got to 20 years, okay, it hurt too much. And I learned that, pain is actually a tool God will use to help us, but that's not the first one he's gonna grab. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's another
Yeah.
thing I found out. It's not the first one he'll go for.
Yeah.
So okay, that's awesome. Let's see. Next question. Okay, okay. After being so angry with God, how did you finally reconcile that with him?
I think there was a part of me that was so scared of who God was.
Hmm.
And then I think finally, as soon as I was willing to really just admit it, I think I always knew that God was love. I think I was finally just willing to see him for who he was, instead of using him or putting him in the position of being the monster of my story in
Right.
order to make me the victim. Like, I wanted to just be the victim so bad because that worked for me. And finally, when I really honestly looked at what I believed in my heart, I knew that God was love. I knew there was light and
Hmm.
love, and that creator, that's who I belonged to and who I wanted to be with. And so it was just a releasing, it was a surrender. Yeah.
Right. And that's awesome. That's very encouraging. Like, I mean, it's still fresh. So I've been talking about my mom a lot. But even though she's passed away, it's been today's day 5. I'm not angry. I'm not angry at God. I'm not mad at him. And oh, blah, 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 I'm not. I got peace about it as well. I mean, I got sadness, but that peace, that just surpasses all understanding, because I know where my mom is now, and she's not suffering.
Yeah.
Like if God tell her, "Hey, you want to go back? I'll send you back." There's no way she's gonna want to come back. you know, you
Yeah.
know,
I
because
believe.
my dad he's been asking us, we're talking about this the last few days, like, if that was, that was his wife. So he said, look, if this is your wife and the doctor told you, look, we can put your wife on this machine and she'll live longer, or you can just let her go now. I mean, would you rather be around, but she gonna be in pain, or you can let her go? I mean, that's a no-brainer. That one's a no-brainer. So okay, but thank you so much, man. That's a
Yes.
great one.
Yeah.
Okay, here. The next one is, so what do you do to keep your recovery program strong? Everybody, open your ears on this one. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I show up to my meetings. I show up to my meetings and I work with others.
Oh, that's a big one.
I stay in contact with the newcomer, and I try to share that message to the best of my ability. And I work steps with my sponsor. And I continue to discover and try to find those things that block me from the sunlight of the spirit that are happening
Right.
with me. And when I find myself getting trapped in my own head, which happens, and there are gray days. I don't handle even slight boredom or being slightly uncomfortable very well. I learn to reach out of myself and try to be of service. That seems to be the thing that helps the fastest. I stay in my recovery literature, and I trust my higher power. I trust, bottom line. I put
Yes.
the heavy lifting in his hands, and
Uh-huh.
I just do my little piddly work on the side and trust.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I do the same thing. You talked about it. You said it a few times just now about, working with others, reaching out to others, helping others. Because this disease of addiction stems from us being selfish and
Yeah.
self-centered. When
Yeah.
we're others focused, we're not thinking about us. We're not. So, that story I told you of me walking my son. So
Yeah.
right after that happened, my friend, if you ever see this, her name is Ty.
Yeah.
I mean, it really helped me in that moment. I mean, she texted me, sorry for your loss and everything, but she ended the text by telling me, shine your light. A lot of people told me that. And I was like, just bam, the light bulb went on. I immediately got on the phone. I called somebody, jumping on the phone, reaching out to other people, because I really started to get like just consumed with self and how I'm feeling and justify it by, well, my mom died. Like, what the
Yeah.
hell? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a dangerous place to be for,
It
an alcoholic addict type person.
It is. And once it's so hard. Like, it's the last thing you want to do when you're feeling that kind of grief.
Yeah.
Like how hard, what you're feeling and all the emotions and everything you're going through, like
Mhm.
to find the energy to reach out of yourself to go reach to somebody else. But, it
Yeah.
is the medicine on the other side.
Yeah.
It's exciting to see the light come into somebody's eyes or to be there for them in a moment. It feels
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, and like God knew what I needed in the moments that I needed it.
Yeah.
Like that one, and right after that, I was walking down the street. This one guy asked me, "Hey, what's Pro Recovery Power?" I had my shirt on,
Yeah.
and so I got to talk to him about that.
Ah.
And then as I'm wrapping it up with this guy, my other friend that's in the program calls me too, but I'm
Yeah.
still talking. So he keeps calling me to answer the phone,
Yeah.
and so I talked with him for like 30, 40, 1 hour, on the phone. So it's just amazing, like I feel support from my family and my friends, of course,
Yeah.
but to be quite honest, the support I feel from my sober brothers and sisters is very great. I mean, it's huge. I'm not saying my family don't love me or no, I know,
No. Yeah.
or nothing like that. Like the point I'm making is that the problem, our common problem brought us all together, but it's the solution that keeps us together. And it's just amazing. It just, it's hard to explain, but like what really gets me is people that I don't know. Like the people that I'm friends with in other states, I don't even met in real life, but we talk and stuff all the time. We're on social media together. But like for people that I don't even know and I didn't even know these people were following me and they're reaching out to me even on my personal account. it's just like the book says, it's indescribably wonderful.
Yeah.
It is, man. It's amazing, how.
I know. I get it when people say, I'm grateful to be an alcoholic or I'm grateful to
Yeah,
be
yeah,
that, right? And like at first I was like, yeah, right. Sure you are, but then, we have these experiences and we begin to understand how lucky we are that we get to live this close to, to the divine and this close to
yeah.
miracles every day and this close to, it's cool, right?
Right. It is. It
Cool.
is. Yeah, it is. Okay, so let's see. What's the last question here? So
Okay.
I like this question. So what's one thing you would want someone who is new in the program to know?
Mm. Oh, okay. So there's a lot of things I would want that person to know, to be
Yeah,
honest.
yeah,
First thing is don't trust your own brain. I would trust someone who's been in the rooms before you trust what your own brain is telling you. Find somebody who has good recovery and listen to that person and be willing to take those suggestions, because that's going to get you a lot further than your brain, than your own brain. And secondly, I would tell that person, I would share with them the set aside prayer, which is that, I love the
yeah,
set aside prayer. I use it
yeah,
all the time, but it's, help me set aside everything I think I know about
yeah,
12-step recovery. Help me set
yeah,
aside everything I think I know about God, about whatever,
yeah,
and help me to have a brand new experience and to see the truth in things. Because once we can do that, then then the wisdom can come. Our higher powers just starts, bringing it in if we're willing to.
right.
So
And that's important to like, because it's the set aside prayer. It's not the forget everything you know prayer.
yeah,
You're just setting it aside. That's all.
that's right. Yes.
For an open mind and a new experience, and
Yeah.
it takes me back to the three essentials, which of recovery, which is honesty, willingness, and open mindedness.
Right.
Being open minded has totally, like, if I just did that one, my life would have drastically changed.
Yeah.
Just keeping I was so narrow minded, but that's one of the three essentials. It's indispensable, meaning absolutely necessary.
Yeah.
It's just so cool, man, how this program was designed. And like in the early on, I started to think, wait, this is not really about drugs and alcohol. Like these steps I'm looking at over here on the wall, it's designed to make us better human beings, period. I figured it out. I was like, real. And I remember talking to my sponsor, and he basically confirmed everything that I was thinking.
Yeah.
And because I have a friend right now, he lives up in Palmdale, but he's walking through somebody through the 12 steps that has never struggled with drugs and alcohol in their life. But when they hear us speak, they can identify with our thoughts and how we felt and the things we did. I mean, like,
There's a lot of human condition that can relate,
oh,
right? And
oh,
so
yeah,
you wanted like, I want everyone to maybe just have to do it in, I don't know, like in their life. I feel like, it should be something we require of people or something, is do the 12
yeah,
steps, because they are amazing.
they
They are.
are. They absolutely are.
It could help everybody. There's nothing in it that is hurtful or,
Yeah, yeah, not at all. But that's all the questions I have for you. This has been great. I told you it's gonna go by like that, huh?
I know, it's so
Yeah,
fast.
yeah, I know. But I really appreciate you
Love it.
doing
I
this
love
with
it.
me. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was great. I loved it, and really, it helped me. Just so you know, it really did. Because even when I'm trying to talk, because you see me go live, I'm very energetic, but like I'm not trying to not be. I just, like, physically it's hard right now.
Yeah.
Like I'm trying, but it's like I'm not as enthusiastic as I normally am, basically.
Yeah. Well,
And
you showed up though. You showed up and
yeah,
did it.
that, you know what? That's what they taught me. Suit up and show up.
Yeah.
They never, that period. They never say, oh, if somebody passes away, or you lose your job, or you get divorced, you don't have to. No, 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 no.
Yeah.
Practicing these principles in all my affairs. It's amazing though. This process of recovery, and I like, something I like to do about addiction. I really like to expose the truth about this disease, because a lot of people, they can just get so hung up on the drug, the drink. I mean, that's part of it. That's a small part, though. That's not the entire. That's like 5% of the problem. The other 95% is right between my brain and my
it's a
ears.
soul sickness. It's like a soul sickness. It really is.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. But again, thank you so much for
Thanks
being
for
here.
having me.
Yeah, I will. this will be up on the. We have a YouTube page, so I'll send you all that stuff.
Send me all that
But yeah,
information for sure. I guess if I'm able to, I'm gonna be. I'll put this on mine as well, so that people can rewatch it as well. So
okay, yeah, okay, cool,
I don't
yeah.
know how it all works, but we'll figure it out. Thanks
Well,
so
thank you so
much.
much, Kelly. I'll keep in touch with you.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, bye bye.
Bye.
Okay, guys, so that was Kelly's story. Once again, just like to thank all you guys for all the continued prayer, the love and support I've been feeling, due to my mom's passing. It's a process, man, but we suit up, we show up. Life don't stop moving if people, are not here anymore. We lose jobs, we lose lovers, we lose whatever, money, prestige, titles, whatever. Life, the game of life still goes on. God not gonna call in time out just because something drastic or traumatic happened in our lives. It's always important to stay ready. Don't get ready, just stay ready. That's the thing that really helped me a lot. So, if you guys wouldn't mind, I would ask of you, you guys can go to our website, prorecoverypower.com. When you log in, on the bottom right-hand corner, it's gonna have like a little pencil mark, a little circle pencil mark. That is a survey slash like questionnaire. If you guys please would take the time to fill that out, that will really help move the process of PRP turning into a nonprofit more smooth, basically, because they want to know certain information. The IRS wants to know stuff, but I really appreciate it, man. You guys, like, it's been amazing. I really love all of you guys, man. My sober family, man, it's just truly amazing. I haven't said thank you so much in my life than I have in the last 5 days. It's just amazing, and I could talk about everything I'm going through for another hour right now, but I won't. I just will say once again, thank you guys for all the love and support. I will make this announcement though. Starting next month, I'm only gonna go live on Saturdays, but with two different people. So 12 and 3 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. I'll create a post or make a video just to remind everybody, because not everybody will watch this, especially all the way to the end. But for you guys that are still here, I just want to let you guys know that again, I love all you guys so much, man. You guys mean so much to me, man. I just appreciate all the love and support once again, guys. So have a great Sunday and enjoy your week. See you guys next week.